those who don't know me, I'm Cassandra Converse. I got started with Ylang Living a couple of years ago, and Amy and I just kind of met randomly in Las Vegas and realized we lived a couple blocks away from each other. And so we found that we both had these pasts with hormones, and we decided to start doing classes that were kind of like a hormone and Lucy Libido class. And so Amy just did her hormone class last week, so we thought we would come together and do a libido class together, kind of like old time's sake, and just bringing all the knowledge on the Zoom for everybody to kind of experience it. Because there's just, it's not as like it's libido, but it's self-love and talking about ourselves. And so a little bit about Lucy Libido. We go off of a book. I don't know if you guys know, but it is called Lucy Libido. And it was originally started by a group of women, actually kind of, were friends who just kind of were sharing their like frustrations and all this kind of stuff together, thought they would come together, create a Facebook group, and start trying out oils and start researching things. And that Facebook group grew over to like 10,000 people in a month. And then they saw a demand to create a book, AKA this one, and it went to Amazon's #1 bestseller book the day it was released. So a lot of women like to know about this stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. So to really give a basis on Lucy Libido and really what it's about is, I want to encourage you guys to all have an open mind, but also just to realize how important self-love is in all of this. And, I really find like beauty is subjective, and to be a little bit more kinder and self-forgiving to all of ourselves throughout this process. And, we're going to kind of talk at people in all different stages. And so just implement or envision yourself where you are at in your relationship, or if you're single, or whichever way that you are, just be kind to yourself in that way. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about oils. And I want to say we'll go from like level 1 to level 5. But when we're talking about oils and libido, you kind of want to use pure oils, because we're going to talk about a little bit on inner thigh, but there's even some that you can use as natural lubricants. And with that being said, there is such an importance to have pure oils, so you're not putting like synthetics or solvents or anything that you don't really know in places that you don't really want it to go in. And with that being said, like I'll quickly show you, but we're going to go over it a little bit more in depth. I don't know if you guys know, but Ylang Living has a V6 oil. They also have an ortho. So the V6 oil is just like a plain kind of carrier oil. It's a blend. It feels like so silky smooth. It's just like the base of kind of everything. We have an Ortho Ease, which is kind of like minty. And then there is a massage oil as well called Sensation that we have. So when we're talking about this, Ylang Living's oils are pure. They are the purest that you're gonna get, because what's in the bottle is what's there. And so yeah, if there's any non-Ylang Living people or people who have oils from previous things, I highly suggest you do not use those oils for what we're gonna talk about today. And yeah, so Amy, do you want to take it away on a little bit of mental preparation for all of this?
Yes, absolutely. So I think, like we said, everyone's kind of in different stages of life, different stages of even where their hormones are, right? It's different in your 20s to your 30s to your 40s to your 50s and beyond, right? And so we just want to definitely connect with all of you. Again, take this for where you're at in your life, and we hope that we can connect with you in a way that speaks to where you're at. A big part of libido, like we're going to get into a lot of the fun stuff here, but a big part of the libido is, yes, using natural things. We don't want to be, using toxins on our bits and those kind of things. And we're going to talk about sexual health and stuff, but a big part of it can also be mental health, right? Who wants to be having sexy time when they're super stressed, right? They kind of go hand in hand with being way down here. Opposite. If you're high stressed, your libido is way down here, typically, right? And actually, there's a lot of misleading things. And I came across this one article that talked about how the 3 top misleading things about stress going with your libido is, 1, that stress affects your more romantic feelings for your partner, so you might as well get divorced. Once your sex drive disappears, it doesn't come back. And if your partner doesn't desire you because they're stressed, they mean they don't love you anymore. Obviously, those are really excessive and super untrue, but I think in our mental space when we're stressed, or maybe when we're dealing with low libido, or maybe we're kind of in the, there's so many ebbs and flows in relationships, which we're going to get started with, but there are so many different times in our life, but I think we can all agree that those are excessive, and those are our mental thoughts playing a little bit on us. Right? Those are not true. We can absolutely get our sex life back. We can absolutely find ways to decrease our stress to help our hormones. And when we are stressed, if we are not taking time for ourselves, it doesn't help. And what happens when we're high stressed, I'm sure some of you have heard me talking about like the bear reference, right? If you're being chased by a bear, your hormones are not concerned. If you're being chased by a bear, you absolutely are not super excited to like pause and have sex, right? It's not what your body's thinking right now, right? You're in that survival mode. You have that high cortisol, and high cortisol in women totally shoots down our sex drive, right? And same with men. Men, they get this whole adrenaline thing that happens. And so with women, high cortisol in your body, even if you are, mentally able to have physical contact, you will not see the happy ending that you are looking for very easily if you have a lot of stress hormone going through your body. And same with men. If their adrenaline is super increased, right, you're going to see a lot of no happy endings there either. So we want to really be aware of, not being so hard on ourselves, but really aware of like, hey, I have no libido lately. What's my mental space like? What's my day like? There is this great excerpt from the book, which we're going to read some parts from the book for you, those of you who haven't read it, because it is hilarious. It is a great read. I can't find the front page. There we go. Cass and I did the script from way back, so we're going to share some of that with you. But we also have excerpts from the book because it is just so funny. And so here's one. I remember a day when I was sex crazy like a bunny. At it all the time. Then I got married, had 4 kids, 18 pets, and it was a tough time finding time to bump uglies with the mister who has not lost his libido. I'm so tired at the end of the day, being a mom, housework, taxi service, all the things that come along with my day as a woman. I'm so tired. I find it hard to even have the desire to be sexual. I found it was getting harder and harder to want sex, harder to orgasm. Sound familiar? And anniversaries, birthdays, and Christmas became sexy times for sure, right? We get into that common rhythm, and I think it's okay to talk about, right? Again, I kind of like to talk about how it's important to talk about our hormonal health. It's also important to talk about our sexual health and what's going on as well, because just expressing that, whether it be to your partner, to your best friend over a glass of wine, can really help decrease those stress hormones and come at it in a positive way. And so we want to address a few oils first that are going to kind of help with your mood. They are oils from the Libido book, and there are ways to use them in a libido way. But one of my favorite ones is Joy. Joy is a beautiful oil. It helps decrease your stress. It has some aphrodisiac oils in it. You put it over your heart and you just breathe, right? And these are steps we can take throughout the day, because sometimes, first thing in the morning, you have this plan, right? First thing you get up in the morning, your day is going great. And when your husband comes home from work, like, you're sending out the messages, you're sending the vibe, right? But then you have kids all day. You have 1,000 snacks to make a day. You have housework. Maybe you have an argument with your mother. Maybe this. Now hubby's home from work and your sex drive is down here. It was a good idea at the beginning of the day. So things we can do to support our stress throughout the day so that doesn't build up is so important. And Joy is a great one to do that. You can diffuse it, you can put it on your heart, you can have a smell of it, and just whatever you need to do to have those little moments throughout the day to bring peace to your sanity, gives you a better chance to be in the mood later.
Yes.
So I like Valor. Are you going to go over Valor for us, Cass?
I will definitely go over Valor for you guys. So I don't know who hasn't tried Valor, but if you haven't, you got to order it on your ER order and get it into your house, because Valor is like a game changer oil. Not only for mental preparations, but just everything for kids and life and all that kind of stuff. Like my kids start having a tantrum, I'm like, put on the Valor. But for us women and for just having a family, I love diffusing Valor. I know some people don't, but I have Valor in diffusers, into rollers. It's such like a calming yet confidence boosting oil. So it just is one of those oils where you kind of feel like you can conquer the day. You feel like the little things don't really matter anymore, and you can just like power on and move on and get things done. So I blend Valor in lots of different little blends. Sometimes with like, I have a roller with Valor and grapefruit and lemon, and those are just uplifting, fresh oils, put them in there. And you know what? I start feeling a little down through the day, roll it onto the wrist or back of the ears, and it just helps so much. Or again, diffuse it. Like diffusing it is such a great way to kind of consistently get those oils into your body for an extended period of time. And
I love Valor so much. Valor also helps me be very task oriented too. So it makes me feel like I get more stuff done during the day, because also in the evening, if your mind's still racing about all the things you still need to do or all the things you wish you had done, right? The more clear our mind space and the decrease in our stress, the better it's going to go for us. Another one I love for mood, it's so almost underrated as an oil, is orange. Orange oil is spectacular. How many of you love orange oil? Just because it smells good and it makes your water taste amazing and it's so happy, right? So orange. For the adult, orange helps let go of stress and helps you to enjoy being in the moment, which is very important in these situations too. It opens your sacral chakra near your pelvic area. Important. This chakra is associated with pleasure, creativity, and sensuality. And it's an aphrodisiac oil to help you in a way of letting go of your grown-up problems, right? It helps you just de-stress and de-adult for a little bit, which I thought was so cool. It can help you relax if you have low libido due to like more of a bit of anxiety instead of more like physical problems. Maybe it's still, again, talking about that mental space, right? It's fantastic when mixed with florals, especially if you're not into the florals as much. That was me. I couldn't get into the florals too much until I started mixing them with a citrus, and it really helps balance that out. It's also really good with cypress and clary sage, which we'll get into cypress later. And you can use it in your diffuser to help you chill or in any way you like. But orange is actually really, really important for the man. It's in Ningxia. If any of you watched last week, I talked about Ningxia being really important for him, and this is why. It earns a rock star status from the man. I'm going to read from the book for this one as well, because Cass and I love this paragraph so much, and it's so funny. In order for a man's joystick to perform like the 1984 Nintendo champion, he's got to have a plethora of hormones surging through his body just at the right order, just at the right time. It's kind of like having a secret code to unlock ultimate invincibility for hormonal success. Ask him if he remembers the ultimate gamer code. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, kaboom! Some components of a man's secret joystick are L-arginine, testosterone, and glutathione. L-arginine is an amino acid that improves nitric oxide in the body, and nitric oxide improves vascular dilation of the joystick, which is very important. So orange, superstar oil for everybody all around.
Definitely. So I love orange, and I actually agree completely, and this is going to go into actually the next oil that I'm going to talk about. Is I am not a floral person. Give me all the tree oils, give me all the citrus oils, but I detest floral oils with a passion at the beginning. I just could not get into them. So if that is you, if you find they're too strong, like Joy, I felt like was too strong for me, Ylang Ylang, and a few others, again, do up your own thing, whatever is right with you. If you love floral oils, then good for you, and that is awesome. And you don't even need to kind of mix it, but there's always options for you guys. As we kind of move on, we're going to start going into a bit of the libido facts and just talking a bit about them. And I think with this, we really got to, like I always say, be kind to yourself, but we have to realize that the reality for us women is it's a lot harder for us women to orgasm. And really only 20% of women can orgasm without foreplay. Essentially, that is it. So between 15 to 20 minutes of foreplay, only 20% of women can orgasm before that. So that's a huge percentage of women. So whether that is you by yourself or with a partner or whatever, that is the statistics that are going on. And the reason being is the man has all his nerve endings at the tip of the shoulder, if you want to kind of call it that. And us women, our nerve endings are actually like up inside of us. So it's harder that way. And that's why we're going to talk a little bit as well about, say, like some massage oils and ways to get yourself into it that way and gauge where you are on the scale. One of my favorite oils is Sensation. I think I brought it out here. It's like in a pink little bottle. It's amazing. So it is a floral oil. I actually don't mind it too bad, but I still mix it with orange and cypress or orange and northern lights. And I use it as my all day kind of roller because northern lights is calming, orange is calming and kind of reduces your anxiety. But you also have that sensation of like, it's just making you feel good all day long. And it takes away from that, okay, the kids are bothering me, whatever, just go have your sandwich and go on. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy myself right now. Not like whatever, but you know, like I'm just in the mood or more in the mood. So yeah, and with Sensation, it is a little bit, I'm gonna read a bit of it. So it has Ylang Ylang, rosewood, and jasmine. It smells like Joy, but it's a little softer. So if you're kind of wondering if you don't have that oil yet, it's very similar to Joy, but it is softer in a sense. So yeah, and maybe we'll head to Ylang Ylang.
Yes, I love Sensation. It was actually one that helped me jump into the florals because Joy was too much to me for begin with. But Sensation, it has that hint of jasmine, and it is such an easier floral to get into, I find. I love it so much, so much. And now we can get it on our Canadian market as well. So it just came to our side. We used to have to order it from the NFR side, so that's so exciting. Yeah, that is also one of my favorite blends as well. Mix it with a citrus, mix it with a tree. If you're going for more of a romantic feeling, orange and cypress are so good, but it just smells so good. And it has Ylang Ylang in it, and you'll actually find a lot of the emotional blends do. Ylang Ylang is very, very powerful for our emotions, but I'm going to read to you a little bit about why it's powerful as an aphrodisiac. And it's been known as an aphrodisiac for a really, really long time because it increases libido in women, and men tend to respond to the scent of Ylang Ylang on their women. It increases feelings of happiness, adoration, romance, and it calms the mind. Its calming effect can even lower blood pressure a little bit, so I think that's another reason why it's really, really good for stress. It's used to increase feelings of happiness in both men and women, and it's a great choice for the diffuser or an inner thigh potion, which we're going to talk a little bit about. And it's definitely known as the seduction oil for sure. So this is another one you can play around with, blend it however you want, diffuse it during the day, see what happens.
Yeah, so Ylang Ylang was actually one of my first experiences with oils. I'm one of these people that will like try anything. But I wasn't, how I wanted to experience it is how I personally did it is I took a little bit of Ylang Ylang and I actually just put it on my inner thighs, and I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to anyone. I just put it on my inner thighs, went down, watched a movie. And after a little bit, I was like, normally I'd be like, no, I'm tired or it's late or whatever. But I was just more like, okay, I'm open to the fact. And it was in that time that I realized maybe it was the oil that did that. So then the next time I kind of did it again and I used Ylang Ylang. And again, it was just inner thighs. I wasn't doing anything kind of crazy and it seemed to work. And that's where my passion for these libido oils actually kind of came from. So that's one of the things with Ylang Ylang. And so Ylang Ylang and Sensation are both really soft oils. I mean, you can do inner thigh. You can actually use it as a natural lubricant. It is safe and soft enough for inside of you that it's just going to make everything feel good. So moving on, oh yeah, it's real good. We are going to talk a little bit about Mister. So sometimes for us women, it's not just like always estrogen that is the problem. Sometimes we need, like, Amy, I'm sure you talked about this on your hormone one. I actually haven't watched. Okay.
So go for it. Yeah, no.
You're doing stuff right now. So with the Mister, it helps support now natural testosterone levels. And as we age, they usually say kind of us women over 30, sometimes we're actually more drawn to Mister for our hormones than other ones. So with that being said, if it helps natural testosterone levels, what it does is testosterone kind of equals, sexy time, I guess you want to say. It just promotes the feelings of that. And yeah, so you can use it for men or women. And again, like, I think one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about is start low, go slow. So dilute heavily with like a V6 oil, apply it. Mister is definitely more an apply daily one to support your hormones that you're going to kind of, if you do have a hormone imbalance, it is going to work with that. But yeah, what do you have to add on to Mister? Because I know you use it, don't you, quite often? Or
yeah, I have. I don't use it on a regular basis, but like I was very well into my hormonal journey with the clary sage and the progestins and really working on that kind of stuff. And then I noticed just this huge shift in my mood, and almost to like a, not like an estrogen shift where you're really, really, really sad. It was more like I'm super angry. And so I kind of looked more into that, and I read about how just with those types of progesterone and estrogen and how those balance out, if you also need a good healthy little amount of testosterone as women. And if you don't, your sex drive can struggle, but also your mood can shift. Yeah, and so I added Mister to my hormone regimen for a little while, and I totally planed back out and was able to get my mood back under control. But yeah, it was a nice addition for when I needed it. So sometimes maybe, you're doing the clary sage, maybe you're doing the progestins, or maybe, you're at an age where you prefer this lady sclareol and those kind of oils. But sometimes that hint of Mister can do a lot for you if you find those ones aren't giving you the full support that you're looking for. You're still missing a little bit of something. I would try the Mister for sure. And it is excellent for men's health, because just like women, as we age, our hormones tend to like do funny things. Men's testosterone does as well, and it can affect their health. And so this one's really healthy for their testosterone levels and for their prostate health as well, which is super important for their sexual function. So it all kind of comes full circle. Try the Mister. It's excellent.
Definitely. It's a good oil. And it's, again, like sometimes when you're starting out with some of the hormone oils, you might kind of need a little bit of adjustment period to see where you're at and kind of play with it from there, because it is a little different. What I kind of wanted to go over a little bit now is talking about some different ways that we can use the oils. We know we can use them on our bodies, and yes, some of them are going to be soft enough that we can use them on their inner thighs or even as a natural lubricant, but that isn't quite for everybody. And some good subtle ways to do this is you can make up a linen spray. So maybe that's all that you do. And you make up a linen spray, you use maybe some Sensation, some cypress, and you just spritz it on the bed, or even spritz it on the couch while you guys are watching a movie. Kind of just work with it and go in stages that you're comfortable with. And then there's obviously diffusing. I'll tell a little funny story about that. But one quick other thing is adding, I want to say, hot oils to your lubricant. So as I said, we have our regular V6 Hopefully most of you guys know the V6 oil, blend of carrier oils like jojoba and sweet almond, I think is in there, and a few others. So it's really silky smooth. When you start using this, you just don't go back to anything else. Like, it's amazing. But then again, you can take like a step up. So there's like Ortho Ease that is kind of that pepperminty and a little bit cooling. And maybe that's a step up that you want to do. And this is maybe more like a level 2 or 3. And then if you want, there's things like adding cinnamon to your Ortho Ease, where you kind of get that hot cool sensation. So the possibilities on that place is kind of endless. And if you are a little adventurous, kind of just have fun with it. And yeah, cinnamon with Ortho Ease is good. I'll just say that. But one of the other things that I just wanted to say about the diffuser blends is, you and your partner can have fun with it. So one of my girlfriends, she had cypress, and so we'll get to cypress and kind of what it does, but it's one of my favorite oils. And her hint to her husband was they had a diffuser kind of right near the door. And if she was diffusing cypress when he came home from work, he like knew, okay, get the kids to bed, it is go time. And she's like, you know what, even for me, it's like I turned on that cypress and I knew I had to commit to it. Like, I've done this, he knows what's happening. And it was just something fun that they created together. And so again, I'm just encouraging you guys, have fun and maybe step a little outside your comfort zone, but you don't even have to tell them. You don't have to tell them you're diffusing cypress the first couple of times. Just go for it, So.
Yeah, absolutely. I love using those subtle ways, because sometimes those subtle ways are just for ourselves. Maybe it's us who need a little bit of support. And, sometimes it is nice to just subtly start diffusing after. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I can put anything in the diffuser and Chris just, doesn't pay attention. So it can be whatever I want it to be, right? There's very few times he'll come over and take over, but like I can just put in whatever I want and, set the mood as I see fit for our household, right? Sometimes that's like, hey, kids are being crazy. We all need to go to sleep. We're going to diffuse some tree oils, right? Or, hey, maybe I need some mood support and need some support in my mentality for, hey, we should probably have some nice connection time, and put on a diffuser blend that way, right? And sometimes it's just kind of nice for your own personal thing to do, or it's nice to kind of play back and forth with it together, like they were saying. And, we all have these ebbs and flows in our relationship, and whether that be within a relationship with a partner or within a relationship with ourselves, right? Sometimes our self-love is like way down here, and that self-love, we're probably not giving ourselves some like sexy self-love too, right? Just like when we're in that kind of ebb with our partners, we're not in that space. And so wherever you guys are at, like there are some people who have these oils and they're, maybe watching this together, and when this goes off, they're going to grab those oils and be like, let's go try something fun, right? Or for the rest of us, maybe we're in this kind of gap in our sexual health, whether it be with ourselves or whether it be with our partner. And so these subtle ways, I love the inner thigh potion for that. Any kind of rub it on your inner thighs, like the sensation, the Ylang Ylang, the joy. Orange is excellent for that as well. We're going to talk about cypress and why that works. But if you add cypress, it almost adds like a physical component on why it gets you excited, right? And you can do that again, subtly, just for yourself. Or you can, whisper it in your partner's ear. Guess what I just put on? It's an hour till the kids go to bed. You're welcome, right? You can kind of play around with that. And so just love where you're at, respect where you're at, self-love for yourself, getting some, adventure in with your partner, right? We're stepping you out of your comfort zone here a little bit maybe, but that's okay. Our hope here is just that we light some fire in you guys, and maybe you'll try something new. And another really good way to maybe encourage connection, if you guys aren't in that, hey, let's go jump in the sack right now mode, is massage, is setting time aside for physical contact. You don't have to say, hey, let's have a massage and end in some sexy time. No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to go in with any intentions. But I don't know about you guys. Like, typically, if I'm not in any kind of mood whatsoever, but I know we need some close time and I know we need this, this, and this, a massage night is excellent, right? put the kids to bed, we grab our favorite oil, the V6. Cass is right. Once you start using it, you will never go back. There are a lot of toxins and things that clog pores and sugars. Don't get me started on what sugars do up in your bits and fragrance. You don't want that. So having a V6 with some natural oils, yeah, is really important. And it doesn't clog your pores. It helps oxidize them. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also an incredible massage oil. And you can add any kind of oils that you need to suit your mood for a massage. You can add these sexy time oils. You can use the Ortho Ease, because one, that feels great on your back muscles, and then when you guys roll over and decide it's time, that's real great too, right? You can play with this however it goes, but encouraging physical touch is kind of step one for me personally. When I'm feeling, you know, I'm not having that connection with my spouse, as soon as we start some physical contact, it's like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Like when he squeezes my butt. Yes, massage my low back. And then you can just kind of go from there, right? Typically for us, like that's what works. So it's all about where you're at, maybe stepping into a little bit out of your comfort zone, and just, like we said, maybe it's diffusing, maybe it's the inner thigh potion, maybe it's something you communicate together, or maybe you guys aren't in that communicating flow right now, and you just want to do this for yourself and see what happens, right? We're here to support all of those scenarios. Okay, so are we going? I think we're going to go into a little bit of men's health for you guys, because one, it's fun. Even if your men are not struggling in this area, it is so fun to add in some of these oils. And you know, sometimes it is our men who need support, and they're the last people to talk about it. So we're going to give you guys some tips and tricks to help your men and spice up the bedroom for both of you. So Cass, go ahead with the Spruce.
Totally. I think, you know, us women, I feel like are more, I mean, there's probably all women on this call. And, you know, it's us women who will kind of search out for those things. Men, I don't think typically really ask. It's a very vulnerable state for them. And especially if they're kind of having trouble in that area, you as their partner, you probably know, and you can kind of just guide them and aid them into that way, whether it be adding some of these oils into maybe a natural lube, adding in the physical component of, you know, massage, like Amy was talking about, and all of that. So Idaho Blue Spruce is a rock star. So I don't know if you guys totally know, actually, the spruce trees just in themselves, I won't get off topic, but they are amazing. You should be diffusing spruces and cypresses all the time because they're so good for your body. But for the men especially, Idaho Blue Spruce is like that little blue hexagon pill, shall we say. So, I mean, if you guys want him to like stand to attention, you're going to want to use the Idaho Blue Spruce. And it really is that. So what it does is it increases a man's natural testosterone, kind of like Mr., but I think Mr. has Idaho Blue Spruce in it. This is like the golden, well, okay, it's not the golden rod, but it's like the gold oil almost in a sense. And so what you can do is if your man is actually struggling with it, kind of long-term use, you can actually ingest Idaho Blue Spruce, and you can actually put it in one of those veggie capsules. Just take over his supplement regime and be like, oh, here's your pills, put them by his breakfast, and then like just wait a little bit of time. You'll be like, yeah, it worked, type thing. So it is ingestible, but as kind of the book says, do not apply over the one-eyed snake. So this is kind of one of those oils that you might not necessarily want to apply as a lubricant over him. It's kind of a bit more intense. You could do inner thigh, you can use it as a back massage, you can use it in kind of a lot of different places, definitely dilute it, but don't apply over the one-eyed snake in that. So it will actually make him like firmer and last longer and stand to attention and all of that. So it's a really good one for just all around men, and just boosting their confidence sometimes in the bedroom works wonders, because if a man is struggling with that, confidence is probably an issue. Even if he's not really admitting to it, it is going to be an issue. And so just add it in there a little bit and see how it kind of goes.
Right? Yeah. You get in that negative feedback loop. It's an issue. Now he's stressed about it. Now he's stressed. Now he can't have this. Now it's causing more issues. Right? stress. We don't want to cause more issues. Yes, Idaho blue spruce. That's my favorite thing. It's nature's version of that blue happy pill. I love that reference so much.
I got a question on here for how much does the Idaho blue spruce differ from Northern Lights? You kind of want to look at it as like they're both spruce trees, so they both have very similar chemical constituents to them. But if you're really going to want to like get the cream of the crop, you're going to notice the biggest difference with the Idaho blue spruce. Have I had people say, because my favorite sleeping blend is Northern Lights and lavender, and I have had people come to me and be like, I cannot diffuse that because every single time I diffuse that, my husband gets hot and horny and all he wants to do is like, whatever, have sex. And it comes out here when I'm talking about Idaho blue spruce, they make the connection. So, I mean, I guess it would depend on how sensitive your man is, but I would say that for the most part, you probably want to step it up to the Idaho blue spruce if you're wanting to make an effect on his testosterone levels. And I don't know who said that, but somewhere, whoever out there asked that.
Yeah. And I mean, Northern Lights blue spruce, Northern Lights blue spruce, that would be a nice blend though, wouldn't it? Northern Lights black spruce is really good for the mindset aspect of it too. If you have that over chattery mind and maybe you have some over chatter negative self-talk, right? For a lot of us, that's what kills our libido is our negative self-talk, right? Oh, no, I'm not in the mood. He's not going to want to look at my wrinkly, dimply bum. He's not going to find that sexy, blah, 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 right? Like we're terrible. We're terrible. So that's why we need to use our oils to self-love, right? Again, even if you are single and you are just avoiding your own personal self-love time, it's because you're not in appreciation and love with yourself, right? Stop doing that. So anything we can do to, use our joy, use our Northern Lights black spruce to quiet our mind, use all of those things, right? And so the next one for men's health, which is excellent, which they usually bring out once a year, sometimes pretty close to Valentine's Day, actually. It's a very special harvesting season with how they have to do it, is goldenrod. It sells out very fast. Have you guys all been in a part of that cycle yet? If it comes out, it's this big hype, and then it's sold out, and you have to wait till next February. I know it's this whole exciting thing, but it has been found to improve circulation and aid in urinary tract health. So that's really important for both men and women. You can use goldenrod topically in a love massage or on an inner thigh love potion, or it can be taken internally as well. And I don't know if any of you have smelt goldenrod, but to me, it smells like a traditional, just plain black tea. Does anyone smell that? I mean, I've had people say, no, it smells like fresh cut hay and this, and this. I smell black tea. I'm a tea lover. But so there was this whole thing about how when, what was that thing where the tea all got dumped out and they had no tea?
Boston Tea Party.
Thank you. They had no tea. And so they started making goldenrod tea because it's quite similar. So they would make goldenrod tea. And I'm kind of wondering if there was a baby boom during that time. I would be curious to know if they're all drinking this goldenrod tea, what happened with the baby boom. I would love to know that. But it is just another general really good one for men's health. Again, men's urinary tract health is very important. It's also, their symptoms are also very, very subtle, not like ours. And so yeah, adding that to their health regimen is excellent.
Perfect. One quick thing I wanted to add on as you were talking about the self-love, and this is actually something that I dealt with a few years ago. I needed a lot of self-love, and I was actually going to a counselor. And now this is going to sound really weird that I'm going to say this, but this is an exercise that this counselor told me. And in that time and moment, I actually really, really needed this. And it's sounding a little weird, but we're all here. And the counselor told me, she said, go stand in front of a mirror, no makeup, completely naked, and go from head to toe and tell yourself everything that you love about your body. Every little laugh line, every little piece of acne on your skin, just the dimples on your bum. Go. And it actually, for the first couple of weeks, I would bawl my eyes out, telling myself this. And I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to say my whole body, go head to toe. So if you're in a state too where you're like, you girls are talking about all these things, but like, I need to turn off the lights. I don't want him to see me. I'm this and that. Maybe an exercise like that might help somebody out there today and in that kind of scenario, because it definitely helped me. And then it just opens up those doors to feel good about yourself and feel confident. Back on track. I am a very squirrely person, so these Zoom calls are somewhat challenging for me. But nutmeg. So nutmeg, funny story about this one. It's actually a crazy stimulant that I did not know about beforehand. And one drop of nutmeg will like transform you practically into like Captain America. So for the man, you know, one drop of nutmeg, if you think one drop is good and they're going to say like 20 drops is better, in this case it's actually not, because nutmeg can actually have really bad side effects if you overdose on nutmeg. So one drop of nutmeg, but it also gives you this crazy boost in energy. So this past fall, I'm getting whatever, I made a bunch of fall blends for my diffusers in recycled oil bottles, and I had nutmeg in a bunch of them, and it was keeping me up all night and keeping me almost in this kind of aphrodisiac mood. And I couldn't figure out why and what was going wrong with me. Am I just in this crazy hormone shift? And that's what it was. So you can add it to a diffuser blend. You can, of course, put it on, but just use it sparingly because it will give you a crazy boost of energy, and well, you or your partner for that. It is known as also like a vasodilator. So yeah, it's going to kind of open those things up and just give him a nice, strong firmness department, we want to say.
Yes, vasodilation is very important. To dilate means to make bigger. So vasodilation is very important for men when it comes to all of that. But also we have to be really careful. If anyone has high blood pressure, a vasodilator is not your best friend. So you have to be really careful with that one. And yes, if you're diffusing nutmeg at night and not wondering why you can't sleep, that is why. It's like having like 6 cups of coffee, I swear. Yeah. No, that one is excellent. Okay, so the next one is our very special signature Young Living men's blend. It is Shutron. If you have not smelt it, you have to smell it. It is so good. It was released originally as a cologne, but it is so much more. Shutron is the first and only oil created specifically to help catch a lady's attention. It's formulated for the man to wear to help catch a lady. It's like a bottle of sweet-smelling pheromones wafting into the hidden parts of your brain, and once you realize what Shutron does for you and your man, it is worth every penny. For reals. So Shutron for the man, it's loaded with Idaho blue spruce, which we all know is that blue hexagon pill of happiness, and it also contains hinoki, Japanese cypress, and Ylang Ylang for that kind of male-female energy, which we learned about. And he can wear it like a cologne to increase his feelings of manhood, right? Bring up that testosterone, give him that nice, sexy man confidence, and to capture your attention. You can make a love massage oil with it. It's one that can be used in all the places as well. But what's really, really neat about it, if you guys even just need to boost your connection a little bit, it smells different to you on your man or on your partner or on other people than it does on other men. We've done this experiment we've lined up the husbands and put it on them, and you know, some of them it brings out the woodsy smell, some of them like Chris, it brings out the really sweet Ylang Ylang smell because it works with their pheromones, which is what attracted you to them in the first place, and it like enhances that. It's this magical thing. Chris even did this whole thing where he wore it to the bar, and he swears by the Shutron now because all the ladies came up to him. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm out there dancing, and he would sit there because he's not much of a dancer until like the very end of the night after a few cocktails. And yeah, and they just kept coming up, and he would just look over, and I would laugh, and I'd be like, so funny, just you do you, babe, good for you, right? A little bit of an ego stroke. And finally one like sat down, even though he said like, no, like, and he would point at me like, that's my wife. And I'd be like, hi. And one finally like sat down, and he's like, I think she was really into the Shutron. I couldn't shake her. And I probably could have been more help in that situation, but I laughed from the dance floor and I let him, enjoy that stroke to his ego. But it was so funny. So he tells that a lot, and I think it made him feel really good. And it's just, a good thing to help our men feel the best they can, because sometimes, same thing, if they're having a hit to their manhood, which we will never as women really understand, but it's a whole thing for them. And it could be anything, right? It could be something at work. It could be something that was said 6 days ago in the house that is stress, anything, right? So anything we can do to support them in that, just like anything they can do to support us during our hormone trials, which we hope they do, we can do, right? So Shutron's an excellent one for both of you, but really, really great for the men. Okay. Now, how do you want to introduce this next oil?
Like the grand finale?
The happy ending? The happy...
The big bang?
Ooh, the big bang. Yes, the big bang. Let's call it the grand finale, happy ending, big bang. Here's Cypress. Everyone needs it. You're welcome. Okay, tell me about Cypress, Cass.
If you guys don't have Cypress, actually, like, I don't know, when I said get Valor, if you had a choice between Valor and Cypress, like, I don't know, that would probably, I don't know how I could choose between those two, because Cypress is just, it's such an awesome oil. So it promotes circulation. So during sex, circulation, the big bang, the happy ending, all of that, but for both females and males. But it's such an oil that so again, I would make the roller with Cypress, Sensation, and Orange. So as we've learned, like, Sensation is just really good, kind of making you feel like happy and good and loving yourself, and Orange takes down that anxiety, and then Cypress comes in there and is like, bam, I'm here. And so it's a great one to roll on your inner thighs. There's also, I was gonna say, if you don't know, there's a Sensation, it's probably backwards for you guys, but Sensation oil that you can just, like, whatever, have this little thing, put some on your hand, use a drop or two of Cypress, make your own natural lubricant, and kind of just play with it from there. I don't know if I have anything written per se on Cypress, but I believe it is a vasodilator as well. And that once you kind of use it, especially us women, when we were saying, 20% of us women kind of need a little extra loving in that area before we can actually, like, climax and get ourselves off. Cypress is going to get you there, like, I swear, in like half the time. It is a really awesome oil, but it also just, it's like, it's not an invasive oil either. So, some of these other oils, when I say add cinnamon to ortho use, that's a little bit of like, we're talking hot and cold and you might not like it. Whereas I find 1 drop of Cypress diluted works amazing wonders for both the male and females. And it's just going to get you there that much kind of better. It's going to be like, I don't know how to explain it other than once you use it, you're going to come back to us and be like, oh my God, I friggin' love that oil. Like, I just don't know how else to explain it for that.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's what increases the circulation. So when I was talking about the inner thigh potion earlier with Sensation or something, if you want to add Cypress, like, do that maybe a little bit closer to the time you want to get a little sexy, because it happens pretty fast. And I've done that. I've put that inner thigh potion on a little too early, and I'm like impatient because stuff's, it's blood's flowing. Like, get those kids to bed. Let's go.
It's actually true. Do not put it on too early. I have to admit, like, I agree with you on that, Amy.
Right? And circulation is everything. It's for him, it's for her. That's why that external stimulation for, a good period of time beforehand is so important, because it builds up the circulation to your parts that you need to have that happy ending. I like when the book talks about Cypress, it says Cypress, aka the thigh master, can be applied both on his and her inner thighs. So his inner thighs too, if you guys want to have like a real anticipation kind of thing, if you like that. And I lost my spot. Oh, it helps, this oil helps ladies get swollen in the floodgates. That's from the book. This is why I love the book so much. It's very informative. It's very sciencey, like you heard with all that glutathione and L-arginine and those kind of talks. But then it has great things like that, those little nuggets that make it so fun to read. Blood flow is a big deal when you're squirming beneath the sheets. Cypress helps engorge both his and her love areas. It's great. Just try it, right? Just try it. It's great with a partner. It's great by yourself. It helps. Right? If you're struggling, it absolutely helps. Even if you're not struggling, it's just super fantastic. And it's probably my top recommended oil. for libido.
100%. The cypress I mean, I don't know. Once you try it, like I said, like it kind of tops a little bit of sensation and all those other oils for me just because of what it does and how quickly it works. I was actually reading the book and preparing for a class one time that I was actually doing a Facebook Live for, but I was on an airplane going somewhere, whatever. And I got to cypress and I actually had to close the book on the airplane and stop reading. I was like, no, I can't even read this section right now because I know what it did. But you know, we're hoping that like through this class, you've kind of gotten to see a little bit of just how you can experience with the oils. I highly recommend getting the book because like Amy said, it is so funny. It's not even that big. The writing's actually pretty big. There is also in the back of the book a ton of, hold on, you guys probably can't see it, but there's like all sorts of recipes in the back there. So, you know, it kind of gives you some ideas and you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try this. Some of the names are like kind of ridiculous and make me cringe when I want to like say them, but it's like Mr. Libido's Perky Pellet recipe. This is what kind of book this is. But it's fun. It's a fun book. So definitely get it. Step outside your comfort zone a little bit, you know, just a little bit, even if it's not like a ton that you're going, you know, go at your speed, but step outside your comfort zone, try something new, try a diffuser recipe, try kind of a forearm recipe or something, you know, after this.
And this book takes you through all of those aspects. In the beginning, there's this beautiful thing on self-love, and then, you know, it goes into, there's chapters at the end even just dedicated to progestins and your hormones. It deals with hormone struggles. It deals with all this fun stuff, the greatest recipe names you've ever seen, and it's just a fun read. And yeah, we just hope that we lit a little bit of a fire for you guys tonight, and we encourage you to have that little self-love boost and maybe, you know, try something new with yourself or your partner. Let's see where that takes you. But I think when it comes to all of this, again, it is about full body experience, right? It's our mental health. It's our environment. If it's too stressful, if it's too toxic, if it's too this, and this, right? We have to look at this as a whole body health, just like we have to everything else. And so get into your beautiful mental spaces, decrease that cortisol so you can have your happy ending, and see what happens. Okay, we are so, so thankful and glad you guys could come and hear us talk all about our passions. Cass and I love doing these classes together, and I'm so happy we did. I miss this so much. And I'm gonna do my best to put this Zoom in the group for you guys, and ask us any questions. I'll do another post maybe where you guys can ask us questions, but I just highly recommend getting the book. It's like $15 on Amazon. You can have it in a day if you pay the right shipping. So thank you guys so, so much. We love you all, and have a good night.
Yes, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.